What is up? What is up? YouTube, how y'all doing, man? Check it out. I was in the yard working and everything, and Tisha tells she was on vacation. So check it out, man. Trump and Diddy exposing shocking article. What? Oh my goodness. Let's see what this bad boy is about, man. Oh man. Y'all hit that subscribe button, hit that bell, sit back and relax and chilly willy on out, and let's check this bad boy.
Hey, what's up, guys? How y'all doing today? Well, baby, if your name is Diddy and Donald Trump, it looks like your days may be numbered. We're going to go inside that Wall Street Journal article. I'm going to read that. We're also going to talk about what's going on between Donald Trump and Rupert Murdoch. But how does this all relate to Diddy? The Maurene Comey statement. She actually released a statement and said that Donald Trump was trying to make not Trump, but the government is trying to institute fear into the Department of Justice, mainly the Southern District of New York. Now, if you guys don't remember, Damian Williams was going after Diddy. They were flying out to Belize. They were flying out to London. They were going to take Diddy down for international crimes. Unfortunately, he hired Mark Agnifilio. Mark Agnifilio went on a spree to race to court to short circuit that. Around that time, Trump put in his person with the Department of Justice. Now, remember this, as we get into this article and all the information I'm going to give you. True, the Supreme Court basically said that Trump can do whatever he wants and nobody can say anything about it. However, I think a lot of us got selective memory and how much, forget about all the lawsuits Trump had against him that he was excused from. Let's not forget all the people around Trump that were being sued for doing really, really crazy things. I'm not talking about Epstein. I'm talking about currently in from 2020 to 2025, the Justice Department was going after not just Trump, but the people that were doing business with him. Okay. So even though Trump is excused from that, from the Supreme Court ruling, they're not. Okay. So that's going on. Southern District of New York had a lot. And hey guys, also I want to give a happy birthday to Drew McNeil. Happy birthday to ya. Happy birthday, Drew. All right. So anyway, I'm about to get into the article, but I just want you guys to have this back information because it's going to make a lot of stuff make sense. So the Justice Department, specifically the Southern District of New York, was going after everybody. And New York State was going after everybody that was left. Maurene Comey, I don't care what the tweet said. I was in the courtroom. And when I say in the courtroom, when Maurene Comey walked by in her navy suit and her black tights, I felt the wind go by me. When I say I was in the courtroom, Maurene Comey was windmilling for her life. And that's why it was even more shocking when the jury verdict came out. However, there were rumors that Comey was not done. She was like a dog with a bone. And there were going to be more charges filed against Diddy. The firearm, maybe not RICO, but the firearm charges, okay? What else is it? There was a bunch of other charges that would have been filed federal and state. They said Maurene Comey was pissed. This was personal, and she was not going to let it go. Again, just because he didn't get convicted of RICO, are we acting like a man that literally allegedly, according to Kid Cudi and Cassie, blew up somebody's car because your girl left them for him? And we're acting like that person's normal and everybody knows that man got bodies all over the street. Anyway, Maurene Comey was supposed to be pushing to get more charges quickly brought up against Diddy because apparently this investigation with Diddy, it has been ongoing. I know they were looking on him for the RICO, but let's not forget they had a whole binder, a dossier, if you will, of stuff that Diddy's done. All right. Now, they're saying that Maurene Comey was like, press go. Okay, mofo, you got away with RICO when it comes to sex trafficking, but press go against that other stuff because we can continue investigating and we can bring up other charges. It took how many times to bring Giselle Maxwell down? How many times to bring R. Kelly? How many times to bring Harvey Weinstein? How many times to bring down Jeffrey Epstein? She said, push the start, let's go. She was also the sole and loudest, because she runs that whole Smex tracking division, loudest yelling to Judge Summering that Diddy should not be released on jail and he should get the maximum time allotted for his crimes, even under the Mann Act. And the word on the street is Maurene Comey felt like once he was in jail, okay, under the Mann Act, she thought that a lot of potential witnesses and people would feel more comfortable coming forward and testifying to Diddy's other crimes. Because even though the woman beaters of America and the flunky, broke, dusty women that support them were out there celebrating in the streets that their king dirtbag beat the Rico, baby, we are not going to act like Diddy is not a two-time convicted felon, and that every time you talk to people that actually knew him, not the people that was literally trying to beg to get into the Bad Boy reunion tour, not the people that would sell their left arm or their firstborn, literally, and Diddy might take them to get into a white party. But the people that actually worked around this mofo and knew this mofo was like, he is a dangerous person. Everybody saying they're afraid of him is not hyperbole. They are being dead serious. Now, Maurene Comey was like, put him in jail for as long as possible under the Mann Act. And while the Mann Act is going on, let's go in there, okay? Let's go in there and keep investigating. Mark Agnifilo, you rushed the trial, so we can't get this under RICO. But baby, we can get it under all the other stuff. Because at the end of the day, Mark Agnifilo and his misogynist stand-up routine and his poorly run PR that they're now trying to backtrack because they attach themselves to the dredges of society, right? To the dredges of society. At the end of the day, you never explain what that good law-abiding church boy was doing in a security booth with assault rifles, with sawed-off serial numbers. As far as I know, baby, the security company you hire, the professional security company you hire, there's no reason for them to have guns with serial numbers filed off, okay? But anyway, Maurene Comey, and all of a sudden, out of the blue, just saying Maxwell might be pardoned. We'll wait to see what happens with that. Or at the very least, maybe her sentence will be commuted, because if Jeffrey Epstein was just a troubled businessman who didn't do anything, then why is just saying Maxwell in jail? Maurene Comey was over that. She was over the case. She was also over the Epstein case. She was bringing that mofo down. Ask yourself why the woman that bought down El Chapo, Jeffrey Epstein, just saying Maxwell, I don't know if she bought down Harvey Weinstein. Why the hell would they have to sit there and have a Call of Duty arms to bring down Diddy if there wasn't anything with it? Again, I think the jury actually shocked them. Ooh, Maurene Comey's face when she walked out after 2 out of the 3 charges. Anyway, she was the one saying, park Diddy in jail, and then we are going to complete our investigation. And Mark, you can't do anything. And more witnesses will come forward if he is in jail, because his reach will be. Now, all of a sudden, she gets fired out of the blue. She was fired by the president for no reason. There is a connection between Diddy and Trump. They've done their best. They have done their best to scrub the internet of pictures. The most notable one is he's been at a lot of the parties, but the 1998 white party, it was in some old archive. That's a picture right there. And Diddy and Trump were singing each other's praises. They've done their best to scrub the internet so there isn't a relation, but there's something there. So all of a sudden, Diddy and his servers that were taken out of the house, right, from the FBI, there were literally party planners that said Diddy had big orgies, okay? I know they tried to make it seem like the freak-offs were just Diddy, his whatever girl he was beating on that year, and a male escort. But they have gone in the New York Times, New York Post, and a bunch of publications saying that Diddy actually paid $500,000 on up just for party planners to decorate elaborate Roman orgies, elaborate Smex parties. I call them Roman orgies. They call them Smex parties. We saw the pictures from Meek Mill's birthday where they rented out Count Chocola's castle, changed the lock so they locked from the inside and outside, and the only person that had the key was Diddy. And on top of that, what is the worst part? He changed the fire alarms smoke detectors out of each room for his own. I think they were secret hidden cameras because when McMills tried to walk away from knowing Diddy, they released stills of that party. Why is that important? Because the guy that rented out Count Chocula's castle, it literally did look like Count Chocula's castle. The guy that rented out Chocola's castle literally said that they trashed the place. It was disgusting. They needed hazmats to get in. There was blood all over the sheets. There were
tongue twister,
used condoms, bloody. It was just, He charged him so much because he said it looked like a disaster scene. Again, giant orgy. Let's also not forget Wild King Nights. That again, it wasn't just those two people. Now we can argue what happened to all the tapes in the server, but we can also argue that it seemed like Diddy might have thought he could do Jeffrey Epstein plus. Now, stay with me. We're about to get into the article. Maurene Comey was screaming for all that. Maurene Comey out of the blue. First of all, I don't care what anybody says. I thought it was very odd that Trump even planted somebody from Fox News to stand up and ask about would he pardon Diddy. And he was like, well, if he's treated unfairly, I would. And a lot of MAGA, y'all was in my comments being like, oh, please, Trump would never. He's against pedophiles. He's making a special task force to take down pedophiles. And I said, I mean, okay, if he just put PDF files in okay, I mean, I guess go for it. Die, comrade. Like, let's do this because, baby, I don't care who it is. If Satan himself is putting PDF files in jail. I mean, let me shut up before God be like, what'd you say? Who's doing it? We all know that Satan will never put a PDF file in jail. He's the one that creates them, right? But the whole point of the matter is, I was like, are you sure? Because it sounds like, and Trump, and I don't know. But now that we see the Jeffrey Epstein stuff and the way Trump is like saying, oh, I don't know. Now he's saying that he's going to release some of the grand jury testimony, some of it, to the public, but it's never going to be enough. It is never going to be enough because we didn't ask for the grand jury testimony. We asked for the list. We asked for the client list. We asked for the list. Can we have the list? The list that you guys said you had. I don't need to read the testimony. I'll read the transcripts later.
The list that you all said that y'all was going to provide. Trump said he ran his he got in office because a lot of Trump supporters that's pissed off at Trump because they thought they was going to see this list. Trump must have told them that the list is coming. Some lady on the lawn said something about the list is coming, and then all of a sudden it ain't a list. Make that make sense.
You can just give us a list, okay? So with that, interestingly enough also, so you know how Donald Trump tweeted, and you guys can go confirm this on your own. You know how Donald Trump tweeted, this is great. Coca-Cola is now going to be made with whole sugar, right? And I thought it was some, like, what's the guy that got the worm in his head? Kennedy, right? Can you believe the girl from Cheryl from Curb Your Enthusiasm is his wife? I know. I wonder how Larry David feels about that. So anyway, right? The whole point of the matter is they're like, yo, Coke is now going to be made from sugar. Okay, great. Coke's going to be made from sugar. I guess that's better than all the stuff. Really weird why MAGA is calling for your head for the Epstein thing that you talk about making Coke all natural, right? Okay. Shout out to Coca-Cola. But the person that's going to supply Coca-Cola is a sugar tycoon. He's the sugar billionaire. Now, why did he have a little in his profits for like the last 4 years? Why it was under the Biden administration? Because his sugar plantations on I forget whatever island or wherever they were, we refused to take any of his sugar into America. Why? Because on the plantations, they found him guilty of having forced labor on his plantations. Forced labor on his plantation. So basically he had a modern day slave plantation, and the human rights violations were so bad that any of his imports of sugar into America were 100% blocked. Now, Trump lifted those sanctions on the sugar baron, right? I think his name was Pedro. I forget what his name was. Lifted the sanctions on the sugar baron. Apparently, the sugar baron is now going to be the supplier of pure cane sugar to Coca-Cola. So what does that have to do with anything? Well, it all seems to go back to a list because the sugar baron was also a good friend of Jeffrey Epstein. And if you look at the flight log that they released to and from Epstein Island, he was there a bunch of times, almost as much as Bill Clinton and almost as much as Donald Trump. I find it odd that somebody that had sanctions put on him and they refused to import because because of having modern day slavery on your plantation, you're lifting it, you're doing it. But this guy is also, and he just tweeted that in the middle of this, just saying Maxwell. It's almost like everybody that was involved in Epstein is now colluding and see if they can create a power base. Now, let's get into this Wall Street Journal article. Again, just something to think about. You guys can Google this yourself. I'm not putting up a whole PowerPoint. Use Google. I don't know if my Google is more free than yours, but you can definitely, hey, Honeybee, thank you so much for the super chat. Shout out to Honeybee Therapy, right? But my whole point of the matter is...
I was looking for the chat. Yeah. I don't see no chat.
So now that Maurene Comey, just tilt this. Now that Maurene Comey, has been fired unexpectedly when she was pushing for more charges to come up against Diddy. On top of that, Maurene Comey, if anything was going on with the Epstein list, because she is the lead prosecutor, well, I don't know, she could have leaked something. I don't know. But I just find it to be like such a coincidence and really suspicious timing. You guys, I've never been somebody to truly believe in deep state. I think that but because they do enough BS on the regular day. We don't need to actually wonder on a regular day, we don't have to go into conspiracy rabbit holes because they play in our face. But I do believe in 2025, we are literally in real lifetime seeing a deep state cover up in real life. Now, you can argue whether you think that Trump is behind it, but we can argue but I think we all agree the list existed. And it reminds me of the way they played semantics with Kim Porter's book. She didn't have a book. Her best friend, the one that's still defending Diddy, she didn't have a book. Well, what did she have? Was it a note? Was it manuscripts? Was it text messages? Was it notes in her phone? What did she have anything documented saying Diddy is an SOB? She did? Okay. But they kept saying there was no book. Okay, it's fine. It was a manuscript. It was a draft. It was a notes app on your phone. But it was something maybe. It's the same way to me. They're playing around with the list. You know what we're saying with the list. We want to know who were the frequent visitors to Epstein Island. Who did Epstein spin up? Who was Epstein's social network? Basically, we want to see his iPhone backup and we want to see who was in his contacts list. That's what we want to see. And now they're playing around saying there was no list, there was no this, there was no that. Okay, but what was it? Give us the unredacted flight log. Why did they redact the flight log? They still didn't figure that out. And that happened in the Biden administration. I do want to say this. I don't want to turn this chat into anything political. I do say that Democrats and Republicans, there's SOBs on both sides. And there are people on both sides that are stopping this from coming out. I don't want to see one more tweet. I don't want to see one more grand jury. I'm releasing some of the grand jury testimony. What? The part that says Trump had nothing to do with it. The government had nothing to do with it. I don't want to see anything except for drop the contact list. Drop the unredacted flight logs. Drop something. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, y'all. Oh, also.
Can't do that because Trump is on there on the flight logs. Just because they went to the island, this is their excuse, right? It's going to be a lot of people on the flight logs, but I ain't do nothing.
Emmy Nash, Michelle, thank you, Mama, for the super chat. Listen, thank you for the super chat. Okay, let's get into. Of course, the list is real. The list is 100% there, and we got to move past this whole Democrat-Republican thing. You gotta move past it because that is what they're doing to play hide the ball. Under the Biden administration. Where's the Epstein list? Why can't we see the flight log? The Republicans won't let us see it. They won't. No, but we're trying our best. All right, I guess Republicans take over. So where's the unredacted list? Like, can we see it? Because they said y'all was the ones holding this, and now let's go. No, the Dems. It was Barack Obama. It was Biden. What? Yeah, it's them. They are playing hide the ball. They're playing in our faces like they're 3-year-olds. They hide the ball. No, it's them. And then they throw it back to someone else. No, it's them. And I, for one, I'm sick of it. I'm sick of it. They're both doing the same thing. And Biden just got out of there and he didn't give us a Biden list. And now Trump isn't, and he went one step further. He said, forget about giving it to y'all, because at least Biden admitted it existed. He was like, it doesn't even exist. So at this point, how can you have faith in either party? That's all I'm saying. Anyway, let's get into this Wall Street article really quickly. Interesting enough, Trump said that he is suing Rupert Murdoch for this article we're about to read. If you guys haven't read the whole article, I'm about to read it for y'all right now. But he is suing Rupert Murdoch for $10 billion. Gabriella, thank you so much for the super chat. I appreciate you, mama. He's suing, Black Anonymous said, sugar baron, slavery, and epi. Who knew? Exactly. It was they call slavery now forced labor. But if you are on a plan, as someone that got 4 Black grandparents that descended from enslaved people, 4 Black grandparents, right? You cannot, in this modern day age, there's a plantation and y'all growing sugar and you're doing forced labor. That sounds like slavery to me. Yes. And Jeffrey Epstein, he was one of the biggest victims. I'm going to give you guys this name. Bailey, thank you so much for the super chat. Appreciate you. Jamie Powell, thank you so much. Appreciate you too. Oh, also, FMJ said, love from London. Love the commentary. Thank you, FMJ. I appreciate you. Thank you, guys. Oh, Angel Lim said, it's politics, all parties the same in UK and worldwide. Depressing. Love you, hon. Love you too. I agree with you. This is the most depressing thing. It is politics. Don't fall into this. The same way they fed into us, feeding into racism, feeding into sexism, feeding into misogyny, feeding into homophobia, feeding into any ism. It's only so we argue among ourselves so they can keep stealing from us. I don't understand. And now they've amped it up. Even though Melvin Matthews, thank you so much for the super chat. So he's suing this article. He's now suing Rupert Murdoch for $10 billion. Now, if you don't know who Rupert Murdoch is, he's worth $19 billion, even though Trump does seem to have the Supreme Court's ear right now. So I hope they don't seize $10 billion from his assets. But at the end of the day, Rupert Murdoch, he's estimated to be worth about 19 billion USD. His wealth primarily comes from his controlling stakes in News Corp and Fox Corporation, 2 massive entities that dominate both print and broadcast media. Rupert Murdoch was also the man that took over MSNBC. And my dad and mom, I remember every time I went into the house, Keith Olbermann from MSNBC was playing on the TV. And I guess I can say Keith Olbermann raised me. And I remember when he took over MSNBC, Keith Olbermann was the heart and soul of MSNBC. Rachel Maddow was just coming on. Again, every time I went to my parents' house, they had it on, right? I will say this with the whole Keith Olbermann stuff. He fired Keith Olbermann from MSNBC. And after that, the network just got boring. So I will never forgive him for firing Keith Olbermann. Listen, I will never. I love Keith Olbermann. You know, he has a podcast now. I listen to that whenever I can. I think he does once a week or twice a week, but it's actually really, really funny. Tree Fairy, thank you so much for the super chat. Listen. In any case, what News Corp, print publishing and digital media, also Lisa La Torre, thank you for the super chat. Appreciate you. So listen, Murdoch serves as executive chairman, and his key assets include the Wall Street Journal, the New York Post, the Times, the Sunday Times, the Sun, the Australian, the Herald Sun, news.com.au, that's Australia's top digital news site, HarperCollins Publishers, one of the big 5 English language publishers for all books. Dow Jones and Company, parent company of the Wall Street Journal. He also controls the Fox Corporation, television and digital broadcasting. Following the sale of 21st Century Fox to Disney in 2019, he retained control over Fox Corp. Prior to that, he owned 21st Century Fox. He now still owns Fox News Channel, the dominant U.S. cable news network, Fox Business Network, Fox Broadcasting Company, main TV network, airing sports, reality, TV, primetime shows. Actually, Fox Broadcasting Company, remember the New Girl? They're in their bag when they have a show, they're in their bag. Fox Sports 1 and Fox Sports 2. This is what I thought was surprising. Rupert Murdoch owns Tubi TV and local Fox TV stations across the U.S. He sold 21st Century Fox to Disney for $71 billion. That was 20th Century Fox movie studio. Oh, FX Network. Sorry. FX Network is the one that had the best sitcoms. And of course, National Geographic, they both still share control. So my point is, Rupert Murdoch owns, I would say, 60% of all media in the Western world, which means his political leanings and who he backs and who he supports is something we should all be paying attention to, because what he feels is true is what is spoon fed into our mouths. Imagine, again, some people might have loved, thank you, mommy, daddy, my Diddy coverage. Some people might have hated it. Imagine if I controlled 65% of all media in the Western world. Imagine if I controlled that. That's what I mean. That's what I mean. And these are the same people saying that they are unbiased, they're this and that. And I'm sure most reporters are, but you get what I'm saying. Everybody has mouths to feed. It's the same way YouTube tells me I got to say SMEX trafficking and PDFR. They gave me a large swath. They don't care what I say as long as I don't say anything that will be counted as, you know what I'm saying. But imagine if I actually had a boss saying, T-set, don't do that. T-set, that's enough. Do you see what I'm saying? Anyway, Mohican Wolf, what's up, Mohican, said both sides are corrupt, just a cover up for the elites. The whole thing stinks and the most vulnerable suffer. You know what the sad thing is? Actually, we are the most vulnerable. We are the most vulnerable. Us. We are the most vulnerable right now. Again, I don't know why more people don't see it. Yes, if you have a disability, you are vulnerable. Yes, if you're young, you are. But the fact that we haven't seen it, that's how things have gotten so bad, that if you are a worker, and I know a lot of people that might have a bin sitting in the driveway and might have a 6-story mansion, somehow they don't think that you're part of the working class. But if you lose your income sources, right, and you decide to stop going to work and doing labor, no matter how much labor it is, whether you're an influencer, whether you're a doctor, whether you're a plastic surgeon, if you stop doing what you're doing right now, and in 2 years, if you will lose everything, you are part of the working class. You have no passive income. And right now, the working class, I don't care how many millions a year you make, a basketball player, you are working class. If you break your ankle, your money stops. Football, it doesn't matter. You are working class. If that money stops, again, you're working class. And the fact that we haven't realized that the working class is struggling right now, the working class is to blame. All right, let's get into this, okay? What's up, the Hood Riller and Dario Bird?
That's facts.
Okay, let's get into this Wall Street Journal article because we are going to read it together. If you guys haven't read the whole article, I got the subscription so we can read it together, okay? Jeffrey Epstein's friends. Oh, and then we're going to get into Maurene Comey. She actually broke her silence and literally, I will say one thing about Maurene Comey that I love, and I loved her in court. She is such a skilled lawyer. And honestly, Maurene Comey is going to be okay. A private law firm is going to snatch her up, okay? I know
Okay.
what people say about James Comey being her father, but I truly am one to believe that the sins on the father do not fall on the child. If that's the case, Diddy's kids can just hang it up. The sin, like, we are not responsible for our parents' sins. Now, that said, right? The truth, what did Cat Williams said, the truth doesn't mean a motivation. If there is anything off for her, it will come out in the wash. But for right now, what she did for victims and the way she was a skilled arguer and prosecutor and the way she made the case come alive, she did a phenomenal, phenomenal job. Okay. And she also gave a statement that is still phenomenal, but she also let the Trump administration know, baby, her daddy ain't raised no B. She ain't never been scared. She literally spoke truth. After she got fired, she still stood up there and spoke truth to power and said, and guess what? You're trying to instill fear in the government. And I think that she is right. And I wonder what's going to be the fallout. I'm looking very, very closely at Judge Aaron's sentencing. I'm looking very, very closely because right now it is open season where now all these dirtbag businessmen know that as long as they got money and they got Trump's ear, they can get out of it. And this is what has been exposed. You know, at the end of the day, when you hear people saying, oh my God, and people that voted for Trump because they wanted him to run this country like a business. And I said, I don't care who you're voting for, but why would you want this country run like a business? Businesses don't care about people. Businesses don't care about the sick. Businesses don't care about the ill. Businesses don't care about the fact that you haven't seen your family in 3 weeks. They don't care. All they do is see the bottom line profit, and they will sacrifice any and everyone to make that profit. Why would you want a country run like a business that doesn't see people? The reason we have Medicaid is because we are the richest country in the world, and our lives, our actual lives should be extended. We should have the best quality of life out there. Okay. The reason why we have food and food stamps, is this still food stamp, a SNAP, whatever they call it, aid for thing, is because we don't want to see children starving in the streets and people turn to a life of crime because they wanted a peanut butter sandwich. That is the reason. All these programs, they're like, cut it out, cut it out. We didn't do it out the kindness of our hearts. We did it to upload the social contract. We all live in a social contract. You don't kill me when you get mad, and I won't kill you. You don't steal from me when I go to work, and I won't break into your house and steal from you. There are social contracts in every civilized society. And that's what makes civilized. I don't mean how developed it is. I just mean that we agree to treat other humans well, and in return, we will be treated well. For America to grow, we needed kids not starving on the street and hungry. We needed them well-fed in school, paying attention, so they, when they grow up, can contribute to the country and take us to greatness.
Amen.
Everything that we've done, every social program, we did it because it was for the benefit of the whole society. We did it for the benefit of the whole society. As somebody, mom gets help going to school or free babysitting from the government, you know what? It's not a free ride. They're doing it so the kid can be loved by the community. So why the mom's not trying to better herself because there is a deadbeat dad or like whatever, the kid will be embraced by the community and they won't grow up to be a criminal or a killer or the mom resort to doing something illegal. Like there are social constructs that are in place. And the fact that you want to run a country like it is a business. The business doesn't care if your wife just had a baby. The business doesn't care if you just had a baby. The business doesn't care if you broke your ankle running into work and now you can't stand up. The business doesn't care that you gave 50 years. Maybe these boomers are thinking about like leave it to beaver businesses. But since I've been alive, right? The business doesn't care that you gave 50 years of your blood, sweat, and tears. They want to fire you a month before retirement so they don't have to pay you pension. The business only cares about profit. And there were people that voted to run this country like a business. The amount of money that you will save from a child being raised with enough food to eat and seeing their parents enough that they can get tucked in the bed it's priceless. It's worth millions. And that's why we created a lot of these social programs, but people have forgotten. But you know what? At the end of the day, that's just my opinion. Let's get into this Wall Street article. But yeah, Maurene Comey, I'm going to read her thing too. She called these people out. Listen, she called these people out. Listen, Melvin Matthews, thank you again. Listen, I will just say this, right? I am not on either side. Oh, sorry. I am not on either side. At this point, the way the country looks, I think both parties are doing a trash job. And they've been getting the ball back and forth. And they've all been doing a trash job. And it's now all coming to boil. It's all coming to overflow. And again, why would you want this country? You cannot run an organization based off of people like if it's a business, because the profit isn't the money you save. The profit is the investment that you're putting into the country. But what do I know? Anyway, let's get into the Wall Street Journal article. Jeffrey Epstein's friends sent him bawdy letters for a 50th birthday album. One was from Donald Trump. The leather-bound book was compiled by Ghislaine Maxwell. The president says the letter is a fake thing. It was Jeffrey Epstein's 50th birthday, and Ghislaine Maxwell was preparing a special gift to mark the occasion. She turned to Epstein's family and friends. One of them was Donald Trump. Ghislaine collected letters from Trump and dozens of Epstein's other associates for a 2003 birthday album, according to documents, reviewed by the Wall Street Journal. Now, pause. The Wall Street Journal has one of the best legal review teams in the print media. I am willing to bet that they have 100% definitive proof to back up. And I don't mean like, proof to back up everything they're saying. Okay. Pages from the leather-bound album, assembled before Epstein was first arrested in 2006, are among the documents examined by the Justice Department officials who investigated Epstein and Maxwell years ago, according to people who have reviewed the pages. It's unclear if any of the pages are part of the Trump administration's recent review. Okay, so now they're getting direct people from the Justice Department officials. Now, Maurene Comey just got fired. Do you think that Maurene Comey, she got fired 2 days before this Wall Street Journal article dropped? And 2 days before this article dropped, or is it 3 days? Whenever it was, 2 or 3 days, they contacted, 3 days. They contacted Donald Trump's White House and said, hey, we have proof. We have this article. Can we get your statement on anything? Would you like to go on record? And as soon as the Wall Street Journal reached out to Trump, so right before they run a story, they reach out to the other side and they're like, hey, we have the story. There's some interesting stuff in it. Do you want to make a comment? They're saying all this stuff. Do you want to defend yourself? It's looking bad for you, Donald Trump. It's looking bad. You got anything to say? And this is what they do, right? It's standard. After that happened, Maurene Comey got fired by a memo with no reason stating that very same day. That very same morning. So it happened, it got dropped about the Epstein. No. That very morning, the very morning that they contacted them, Maurene Comey got her letter later on that day that she was fired for no reason. Now, I'm just putting two and two together, and this is just me speculating, right? They say that they're among the documents examined by the Justice Department officials who investigated Epstein and Maxwell years ago. Maurene Comey headed that investigation. Do you think Maurene Comey was the source for the Wall Street Journal article? I mean, she's fired now. You might as well leak the Epstein list, unless your daddy's name is on it. What you holding back for? Anyway, right? So I think Maurene Comey or somebody in her department, I think that she was the one that leaked some of this information and confirmed and leaked some of the documents. And that might have been why she was fired. Okay, let's keep going on. The president's past relationship with Epstein is at a sensitive moment. The Justice Department documents, the so-called Epstein files, and who or what was in them are at the center of a storm consuming the Trump administration. On Wednesday, after angry comments about how the files are a hoax created by Democrats, President Trump lashed out at his own supporters for refusing to let the matter go. He called, if you guys are MAGA, how did you guys feel about it? Because I was taken aback. I'm not even a supporter. I don't support any political system. That doesn't mean I don't vote, but I don't support any political system because they're all full of it. But even I was like, ooh, that's disturbing. You guys are all idiots. You're losers. I don't want your support. And something told me, right? He's going to regret this because also I'm drinking electrolytes. I'm on my health kick.
Ew.
These are Dr. Berg's orange electrolytes.
Ew. I'll stick to the water.
Should have gotten a raspberry lemonade flavor. Ugh, hold on, let me get one more drink. Oh, God. Anyway, I should have gotten the raspberry lemonade. Don't get the Dr. Berg orange flavor. Ugh. Yuck. Anyway, right? But he called them all stupid, called them all imbecile, said you couldn't do that, all this stuff, right? Anyway, now here's the letter. The letter bearing Trump's name, which was reviewed by the Journal, is bawdy, like others in the album. It contains several lines of typewritten text framed by the outline of a naked woman, which appears to be a hand-drawn note with a heavy marker. Now, Trump did come out and say it's a lie because he's never hand-drawn anything in his life, even though there are pictures that Donald Trump drew of the Trump Towers in New York, but they're looking like erect wee-wees. And he signed it and it sold at auction. You are known to be a doodler. A diddler? No, a doodler. So it's like, that's the thing with Trump. Why with the lies? Because it's like the lies, you keep breathing life into this story. Remember when Elon Musk a month and a half ago said that he was going to expose Trump and now all this is coming out? I don't know. You guys think this is Elon making good on his promise? Elon is no better, but the enemy of my friend.
They was bold.
I'm sorry, the enemy of my enemy is still not my friend. Okay, so get into this, right? Okay. The letter contains several lines of handwritten text framed by the outline of a naked woman, which appears to be hand-drawn with a heavy marker. A pair of small arcs denotes the woman's tatas, and the future president's signature is a squiggly Donald below her waist, mimicking her pabubu here. Now, first of all, if you guys haven't read the legal documents about the 13-year-old girl who settled with Epstein and Trump and what she says they did to her, I find it very ironic that a woman was drawn with pubic hair, because that would imply that she was mature enough to grow that. Right. And that, nor was it just follow the money, Tisa. I know that's right. The money is going in there. So I find that to be a little bit funny. The letter concludes, happy birthday, and may every day be another wonderful secret. In an interview with the Journal on Tuesday evening, Trump denied writing the letter or drawing the picture, saying, this is not me. This is a fake thing. It's a fake Wall Street Journal story. I never wrote a picture in my life. I don't draw pictures of women. It's not my language. It's not my words. He told the Wall Street Journal he was preparing to file a lawsuit if it published the article. He did, in fact, file a $10 billion lawsuit, saying, I'm going to sue the Wall Street Journal just like I sued everyone else. Now, they said allegations that Epstein had been sexually abusing girls became public in 2006, and he was arrested that year. He died in 2019 in jail after he was arrested a second time and charged with sex trafficking conspiracy. Now, again, For everybody that is doing the lambada because they think Diddy got away with it, Jeffrey Epstein was arrested in 2006. He beat those charges. However, in 2019, he was arrested again, and this time they had enough evidence. The Justice Department literally conducted an investigation for over 13 years until they took him down. Diddy, if you'll remember, while he was under federal investigation, beat the brakes off of Jane Doe, flew a prostitute out, and was in New York preparing to have another freak off. Needless to say, I do think that Diddy is going to wind his own self back in jail. Anyway, the Justice Department officials didn't respond to requests for comment or address questions about whether the Trump page or other pages of the birthday album were part of the agency's recent documents review. The FBI also declined to comment. The existence of the album and the contents of the birthday letters haven't previously been reported. The albums had poems, photos, and greetings from business people, academics. I'm guessing it was Alan Dershowitz from Harvard Law. Harvard Law needs to ask why they still have Alan Dershowitz working for them. Alan Dershowitz literally, unironically, I think argued in front of Congress, or like maybe he wrote op-eds about how the age of consent should be lowered down to either 12 or 14. And he's dead serious about it. He was also a frequent visitor of Jeffrey Epstein and a close friend. But let's keep going. The album had poems, photos, and greetings from business people, academics, and Epstein's former girlfriends and childhood pals, according to the documents reviewed by the Journal and people familiar with them. Now, this goes out to the Wall Street Journal, because remember I said that they're all in it together. That's why I roll my eyes at anyone feigning moral outrage, because you guys are all in it. The Wall Street Journal published this. You clearly saw the album. Instead of saying that they were check notes, poems, photos, and greetings from business people, academics, Epstein's former girlfriends and childhood pals, and all this other stuff, why don't you actually put their names down? Why don't you give us the business people's names, the academics' names? I actually want to know who Epstein's former girlfriends were. And, well, maybe not his childhood pals, because I guess it was too early for Epstein Island back then. But again, do you see how two things can be true at once? I 100% believe, because Rupert Murdoch has been had beef with Trump. We'll get into the beef. Been had beef with him, okay? A lot of people say he's the reason that Trump lost to Biden because he had all the papers turned against him. Been had beef. Elon Musk now has beef with Trump. I do believe this Epstein angle is their targeted, precision-level, scalpel-like attack to take Trump out because they want to put in J.D. Vance and their people. Why do I think that? Peter Thiel, Elon Musk, both like this. I'm not even going to get into Peter Thiel, just Google it. But they are like this. Peter Thiel literally plucked J.D. Vance out of obscurity, and he's the one that told J.D. Vance, change over to Republican. But not even that, he has funded J.D. Vance, completely funded on every single political race he's been in. J.D. Vance is Peter Thiel's guy. Peter Thiel and Elon Musk are like this. They have some strange ideas about the way they think the future should look, right? They believe everybody should be palm colored, but even out of the palm colored, he wants to use it. Like nobody's safe, right? Even the people that's like, yes, we want an all white America. You're not even safe, right? But the point is, Peter Thiel and J.D. Vance, that's their guy. Peter Thiel and these like the weirdo billionaires around him, that's their guy. Okay. J.D. Vance has even more dangerous ideas than Trump. I do believe that they want to get Trump out of there so they can have a complete puppet, which is J.D. Vance in the White House. I'm telling you, I think this is very, very targeted. I think it's a targeted campaign. Now, that said, we can walk and chew gum. And I say we, I mean you and me at the same time. Two things can be true. This is very targeted to get Trump out of there. And Trump could also be a very, very good friend of Jeffrey Epstein. The reason why he doesn't want the Epstein list to come out is because him and some of his business people and closest friends are on that list. And on top of that, he wants to protect himself and he wants to protect his whole little gang of wealthy businessmen, politicians. So if you think your politicians, Democrat and Republicans, aren't, you see what I'm saying? I think two things can be true. I think they are targeting Trump. I think they do want Trump out of here because, again, let's look at the Wall Street Journal with Rupert Murdoch. You're doing a thing about the Trump who's the president, and thank you very much because he is the most interesting thing. But why aren't you giving us the other academics? Why aren't you giving us the other business people? We're screaming for a list, and you're this bastion of journalism. Y'all seen the documents? So you know at least the people that were in this book that rolled hard. You saw the pictures, you saw the poems, and all you told us was about Donald Trump. What about the other people that were in there? Why don't you release those names? They won't release those names because they don't want to, because they're not trying to take down those businessmen. They're not trying to take down the academics. They're not trying to take down those other politicians. They're only focused on taking down Trump. Now, there was this little conundrum with the Diddy trial, right? They're just doing this and blah, 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 blah. Okay, but did he do it? Because just because someone's targeting you doesn't mean that you're not guilty as sin of everything they're saying. Melvin Matthews, thank you so much for the super chat. Thank you so much for the super chat. Again, you guys, I've never been into deep state conspiracy theories, but I will say this, that we are watching one really, really unfold. There is political theater and chess literally unfolding as we speak. But let's get back into this article. Okay. Again, they said the album has poems, photos, and greetings from business people, academics, Epstein former girlfriends, and childhood pals, according to the documents reviewed by the Journal and people familiar with them. The Journal declined to actually give us anybody else's name, but just because they're targeted doesn't mean that he's not dead wrong too. Among those who submitted letters, right? Oh, they are giving names. I'm sorry. I stand corrected, Wall Street Journal. They did give us a few names. Hold on. Among those who submitted letters, I'm reading this real time too, guys. So we're unfurling this together. Were billionaire Leslie Wexner, I knew it, attorney, and in my opinion, dirtbag, Alan Dershowitz. Google him yourself and see what you come up with. I knew Alan Dershowitz was in it. The album also contained a letter from a now deceased Harvard economist and one of Epstein's report cards from Mark Twain's junior high school in Brooklyn, and a note from a former assistant that included an acrostic with Epstein's name. Jeffrey, oh Jeffrey, everyone loves you. Fun in the sun, fun just for fun. Remember, don't forget me soon. Epstein, you rock. You are the best. Okay. But again, so they gave us Alan Dershowitz and Leslie Wexner. They won't give us the name of the Harvard economist or anybody else. I'm going to need more people because great. Thanks for giving us notable. But I even guessed Alan Dershowitz and I didn't even get through half the article. So yeah, we're still going to need more. Epstein was Wexner's money manager at the time. Now remember the T on Leslie Wexner. Billionaire Leslie Wexner, they actually said that Jeffrey had a little island fun with Leslie. And from that, he was basically blackmailing Leslie from whatever Leslie got into or was into. Because after that, out the blue, Jeffrey Epstein didn't come from money. All of a sudden, he became Leslie Wexner's wealth manager with no prior experience. And it was his first big client and all this stuff. And this all happened after they were like having their fun in the sun. So keep that in mind. Hold on. Let's keep going. Epstein was Leslie Wexner's money manager at the time. The longtime leader of Victoria's Secret wrote a short message that said, I wanted to get you what you want. So here it is. After the text was a line drawing of what appeared to be woman's tatas. Wexner declined to comment through a spokesman. Wexner's spokesman previously told the Wall Street Journal that the retail mogul severed all ties with Epstein in 2007 and never spoke with him again. I see his karma's coming back in Victoria's Secret. Remember Victoria's Secret stole Rihanna's Fenty CEO, and this is like a year or two after that CEO made Rihanna step down. So stupid. She was running Fenty into the ground because the next Fenty fashion show was whack. And then now she ran Victoria. Well, I would say she ran Victoria's Secret into the ground, but Victoria's Secret was on its last leg anyway. So thoughts and prayers. Alan Dershowitz's letter included a mock-up of a Vanity Unfair magazine cover with mock headlines such as, "Who was Jack the Ripper? Was it Jeffrey Epstein?" He joked that he had convinced the magazine to change the focus of an article from Epstein to Bill Clinton. Alan Dershowitz, who represented Jeffrey Epstein after his first arrest, said, "It's been a long time, and I don't recall the content of what I may have written." Alan Dershowitz is such a dirtbag, and the fact that the legal community gives him such oh gosh. The book was put together by a New York City bookbinder, Herbert Wheats. According to people who were involved in the process, Wheats, who died in 2020, I know he's happy he's dead, listed Epstein as a client on his website in 2003. Well, I'm not going to blame the book dealer because I don't know. I think everybody, like the people that weren't on the island, thought that he was just a wealthy businessman. However, if that book dealer's name is on the flight log, yeah, he got some explaining to do. They go on to say, it isn't clear how the letter with Trump's signature was prepared. Inside, the outline of a naked woman was a typewritten note styled as an imaginary conversation between Trump and Epstein, written in third person. Voiceover. There must be more to life than having everything. No, he didn't write this like a scene out of Pooh Bear, Winnie the Pooh books. This is written out of a scene from a Winnie the Pooh book. Voiceover. There must be more to life than having everything, the note began. Donald. Yes, there is, but I won't tell you what it is. Jeffrey. Nor will I, since I also know what it is. Donald. We have certain things in common, Jeffrey. Jeffrey. Yes, we do, come to think of it. Donald. Enigmas never age. Have you noticed that? I think Donald Trump can take his name off of the Enigma list. What do you guys think? Jeffrey. As a matter of fact, it was clear to me the last time I saw you. Donald. A pal is a wonderful thing. Happy birthday. And may every day be another wonderful secret. And the article's not over. When he turned 50, Jeffrey Epstein was already wealthy from managing Leslie Wexner's fortune and was socializing with Trump, Clinton, and other powerful people. Name them, Wall Street Journal. Stop with the innuendo and name them. Name them, okay? We need whoever wrote this article next, like you need to listen to Kendrick when he was beefing with Dre. If you catch flight, it's going to be direct. That's the energy you need to have. He often entertained at his Manhattan townhouse, Palm Beach, Florida, home and a private Caribbean island. A spokesman for Clinton referred to a 2019 statement that former President Clinton had cut ties more than a decade before Jeffrey Epstein's second arrest and didn't know about Epstein's alleged crimes. Pause. Let me tell you a little story. Do y'all know who Ron Burkle? It's going down with this Urkel, right? So you guys know who Ron Burkle is. He is a billionaire. I believe he owns Whole Foods he used to own Whole Foods. The point is he's still a billionaire. He owns a bunch of stuff, right? He is Diddy's fairy god. He is Diddy's rich baby daddy. And he's also godparent to, I think, a lot of Diddy's sons. Like he's godparent to at least one, I think all of his sons, Ron Burkle, the billionaire. Ron Burkle had a plane that he would have freak-offs in the air. So much so that the Justice Department was investigating him. And they nicknamed his plane, instead of Air Force One, they nicknamed it Air F bleep CK1. Air bleep 1. because they would have orgies in the air. Now, some could say that was diabolical because when you're in the air, the laws are different than when you're on land. It's like being on a yacht, like international law. Like there's just all this stuff, right? But he would be in the air and they would call it Air Blank One. Ron Burkle threw Diddy his coming out party. His words, not mine. Diddy's on video saying, I just wanted to come out. And, he's in an article, but it's in Diddy's words, the coming out party. I did a video about it. You can go look at the sources over there, or you can Google it, right? Interesting choice of words, coming out party, when he was in Hollywood. And he threw it at Ron Burkle threw it at his own private residence. Needless to say, Ron Burkle and Diddy are tight. So what does this have to do with Trump and with Epstein? Well, funny story. And with Clinton, funny story. So, Ron Burkle, Bill Clinton, and Jeffrey Epstein flew on Epstein's private jet to Africa because they were going to help the poor youth in Africa. Okay, right? This is back then we believed them. Okay. They were in Africa and they were trying to help like poor school children, whatever. Ron Burkle, Clinton, and Epstein, they flew over on Epstein's private jet. Ron Burkle, a billionaire who has his own private jet and has things at his fingertips, saw something that freaked him out so much that he immediately left Clinton and Epstein, jumped on the net, went straight to an airport, jumped on the next commercial flight. I don't even think he flew VIP. I don't even think he flew first class. He didn't even wait for a private jet to come meet him and fuel up. He saw something that freaked him out so much that he had his people, his drivers, take him straight to the airport, jump on the next commercial flight out of the country. And he never looked back. And after that, Ron Burkle refused to be in the room with Jeffrey Epstein and always said that guy's a weirdo and he gives me the creeps. You can Google it. He has I'm paraphrasing, but you can Google it. He said something about he's a weirdo. He doesn't want to be around him. He gives him the creeps. And he never, I believe, shared space with Jeffrey Epstein again. Do you know who stayed? Bill Clinton, Mr. Bob Dole. Now, do you know who stayed? Bill Clinton. Again, if you take Republican and Democrat out of it, let's just look at this as a list of names. I think the Wall Street Journal could have put that in there as a little aside. But again, Ron Burkle, Clinton, don't forget Clinton and Ron Burkle. Ron Burkle was behind the Vote or Die campaign. He paid Diddy to be the face of it. And Diddy's job was to mobilize the Black and Latino vote in New York City with his celebrity. And he was making it seem like, no, you got to vote. And he was rallying them to vote Democrat. Okay, fine, right? But he was rallying them to vote Democrat. Okay, fine, right? But at the end of the day, he made it seem like it was his thing, where basically they just had him as a puppet and a figurehead to do the bidding of Ron Burkle because they thought they found a new face to mobilize the vote to do what it wanted. Y'all remember the Vote or Die campaign, and that was also invested in and spearheaded by the Clintons. Again, it all goes deep. Now, what you don't know and what they won't tell you is back then, Trump was one of the biggest donors to the Clintons too. Trump believed in Trump believed in Bill Clinton. They were good friends, very good friends. They were even on Jeffrey Epstein's flights at the same time. So go figure. Anyway, let's get into this. Okay. A spokesperson for Clinton referred to a 2009 statement that former President Clinton had cut ties more than a decade before Epstein's second arrest and didn't know about Epstein's alleged crimes. Now, Epstein and Trump spent time together in the 90s and early 2000s and were photographed at social events, including with Maxwell and Melania Trump. A 1992 tape, but also Melania and Trump and Clinton and Hillary were always there. A 1992 tape from the NBC archives shows Trump partying with Epstein at his Mar-a-Lago estate. Trump is seen pulling a woman toward him and patting her behind. Trump, along with others, including Clinton, also appeared several times on flight logs for Jeffrey's private island. Kelly L., thank you so much for being the newest, right? Thank you so much for being the newest member of the Tattletales. Thank you so much, Kelly. Okay, let's keep going. Oh, everybody, welcome Kelly L. Okay, so they just saw Trump pulling a woman to him and patting her booty. Okay. A 2002 New York Magazine profile of Epstein quoted Trump saying, "I've known Jeff for 15 years. Terrific guy. He's a lot of fun to be with. It's even said that he likes beautiful women as much as I do, and many of them are on the younger side. No doubt about it. Jeffrey enjoys his social life." Both men said they subsequently had a falling out. Trump said their friendship ended before Epstein pleaded guilty to procuring minors for prostituting in 2008, served time in a Florida jail, and registered as a SMEX offender. When Epstein was arrested again in 2019, Trump said he hadn't talked to Epstein for about 15 years. Oh my gosh. Wait a second. Maybe this is why Comey got fired. I didn't know this little tidbit. So he was found guilty of procuring a minor for prostituting in 2008. He served time in Florida jail, and he was a registered SMEX offender. Then he's not going to have to be a registered SMEX offender. But after that, the Justice Department kept close ties on him and kept on investigating him. Oh, this is good. It makes me think there actually might be something to what they said about the fact that Maurene Comey was going after Diddy some more. She wasn't going to let go. There's more. Okay. When Jeffrey was arrested again in 2019, Trump said he hadn't talked to Epstein for about 15 years. He said, "I knew him like everybody in Palm Beach knew him." He said in an Oval Office at the time, "I was not a fan of his, that I can tell you." Trump's spokesperson told the Journal in 2023 that Trump had banned Jeffrey Epstein from his Mar-a-Lago club at some point in the past without elaborating. When did that happen? Justine, a British socialite, was convicted in 2021 of helping Epstein's SMEX trafficking and sentenced to 20 years in prison. Maxwell didn't respond to a letter requesting an interview sent to her in prison. Arthur Adala, attorney who represented Maxwell, said, "At this point, she's focused on her case before the Supreme Court of the United States." Now, let's get into the FBI Epstein files. Epstein's associations with Trump and many powerful people have been well documented. There remain questions about the FBI, about what the FBI possesses about Epstein and his well-connected friends. In 2019, the FBI confiscated evidence from his properties in the U.S. Virgin Islands and New York. That's the same thing they did to Diddy's house. Earlier this week, after the Journal sought comment from the president about the letter, Trump told reporters at the White House that he believed some Epstein files were made up by former presidents Barack Obama, Joe Biden, sorry guys, and also James Comey. He said that releasing any more Epstein files would be up to Attorney General Pam Bondi. He said whatever she thinks is credible, she should release. Allegations that bureaucrats covered up Epstein's connections with participants in this trafficking scheme were fanned by people now in top roles in the Trump administration, including FBI Director Kash Patel and his deputy Don Bongino. In June 2024, Trump was asked in a Fox News interview whether he would release the Epstein case files. He initially responded, "Yeah, I would." But he also expressed some reservations, saying, "You don't want to affect people's lives if it's phony stuff in there, because there's a lot of phony stuff with that whole world, but I think I would." Soon after Pam Bondi was confirmed, she said that she was preparing to release the new Epstein files. In late February, she announced the release of phase 1 of the documents, but the material contained few new revelations, drawing criticism from right-wing influencers. Pam Bondi initially blamed the FBI's New York office for withholding information and promised to release the remaining documents after redacting the victims' names. Kash Patel, the head of the FBI, also said there'll be no cover-ups, no missing documents, and no stone left unturned. They tasked hundreds of FBI employees to review the materials and prepare them for release. The issue took new life in June when Elon Musk, amidst a public feud with Trump, alleged that the FBI was withholding documents from the Epstein case because Trump was in the files. He said the truth will come out, he wrote on June 5th. He later deleted the message and said he regretted some of the comments. On July 7th, the Justice Department backtracked on Bondi's pledge to release more Epstein files. The Justice Department said that after an exhaustive review, it had found no incriminating client lists or additional documents to warrant public disclosure. Democrats on the House Judiciary Committee demanded this week that the Republican chairman, Jim Jordan, hold hearings on the Trump administration's handling of Epstein files and, if necessary, subpoena Bondi Patel. Again, more political theater, because y'all had the ball the whole time with Biden, and y'all chose not to release it too. So miss me with this mess. Again, the Republican and Democrats are both playing in our face. You're both playing it in our face. When the Democrats had their chance, they didn't want it. And now they're not even saying they want to release it. They're saying they want to hold hearings on the Trump administration's handling of the Epstein files. So you're not even fighting for the files to be released. You want to have hearings so you can grandstand and see Chuck Schumer with those dumb glasses hanging off his nose, talking about something. Mr. President. Chuck Schumer gets on my damn nerves. Mr. President. That's what you want. You know how he loves to do I wish I had some glasses. He loves to look like he's an angry librarian. Mr. President, I implore you, why? So you want to talk about why the list wasn't going to be released, but ain't now one person fighting for the actual list to be released. Okay. Gotcha. But I 100% believe that Trump is on that list. Because again, all 6 things we discussed are true. Okay. They said, if necessary, subpoena Bondi, Patel, and Baldigo. You know the funny thing as an influencer, people are always like, oh, you did it for the click, you did it for the like, you did it for the views. Baby, I did it for the love of the game, first of all. But you know who does do it for the likes, who does do it for the clicks, who does do it for the views? Every single politician. Every hearing, you're doing it so you can get something to trend on now list. They can chop up a quick minute TikTok. They get on my nerves. Democrat and Republican, right? At the cabinet meeting on July 8th, Trump criticized a reporter for asking about Epstein, saying, are people still talking about this guy, this creep? That is unbelievable. Do you want to waste the time? That same day, Elon wrote, how can people be expected to have faith in Trump if he won't release the Epstein files? And then the Wall Street Journal cut it short. Now, what do I think is going on? I actually think that the Wall Street Journal pulled back on this article because to me, when I read that article, it sounds heavily redacted. It does. It sounds heavily redacted. However, Trump did say that he is suing. He said that he is suing. Hold on. He's suing. President Trump sued the Wall Street Journal and its owner, including Rupert Murdoch, for at least $10 billion on Friday over the newspaper's report that his name was on the 2003 birthday greeting for Jeffrey Epstein that included a sexually suggested drawing and a reference to secrets they shared. The lawsuit filed and actually this goes into the Democrats too. So if you knew this in the FBI files, that means that you knew that at that time, former President Trump, because this before he got reelected, was in the Epstein and super close. And you also knew about Bill Clinton. Trash, all of them. The lawsuit filed in Miami federal court names Rupert Murdoch, Dow Jones, News Corp, and its chief executive Robert Thompson and 2 Wall Street Journal reporters as defendants, saying they defamed Trump and caused him to suffer overwhelming financial and reputational harm. He's vehemently denying it. He says he doesn't do this. Yeah. Anyway, I will say this. The New York Times is also following suit. And they're saying in the swirl of money and suntan women, that was their West Palm Beach and Manhattan set, Donald Trump and Jeffrey Epstein spent nearly 15 years mingling side by side as public friends. There were lavish dinners with bold-faced names at Mr. Epstein's mansion on the Upper East Side and raucous parties with cheerleaders and models at Mr. Trump's private club and residence at Mar-a-Lago. In between, there were trips back and forth from Florida to New York on one of Mr. Epstein's private jets. So what were they doing during those 15 years? And again, this goes out to the free media, the legacy media. Listen, after the Diddy trial, I have so much more respect for legacy media because I get it. I get it now. I get it. But if you guys have seen all these documents, why are we just focused on Trump? Can we have everybody's name? Again, I think everything can be true. This is a targeted takedown from Murdoch and Rupert. From Murdoch and Elon Musk. If you guys are wondering what the beef is between Rupert Murdoch and Donald Trump, it's been going on for a while. Okay. In 2016, Rupert's media empire initially offered lukewarm support to Donald Trump. The New York Post even didn't endorse Trump, and Murdoch privately read Trump the Riot Act for his remarks about John McCain. Rupert Murdoch wanted John McCain to win. Despite that, after Trump secured the GOP nomination, Rupert Murdoch shifted gears and he publicly urged everyone to unify behind Trump. Now, in the first term, tensions rose during Trump's first term. Murdoch himself reportedly called Trump's claims of election fraud a huge disservice to the country and pretty much a crime. Still, Murdoch remained somewhat aligned with Trump, praising him as legendary. However, in 2020, after the 2020 election, Murdoch publicly distanced himself from Trump's false fraud claims, creating visible tension. Now, I do want to say that around that time, even before then, they had fallen out, okay? And Trump and Rupert Murdoch started running negative articles about Trump. Trump blames Rupert Murdoch for being one of the reasons why he wasn't reelected. Some figures close to Trump accused Murdoch of elevating Rick DeSantis. Is it Rick DeSantis? Anyway, DeSantis in internal GOP dynamics. They had a major, so he picked DeSantis instead of like whatever. They also had a major blow up in July of 2025. Do y'all remember that? They published that story. I just read you guys. Trump is suing him for $10 billion. And he referred to Wall Street Journal as a pile of garbage. And he expressed a lot of eagerness at subpoenaing Rupert Murdoch in order to actually testify. If I was Rupert Murdoch, I would be a little worried because Trump does have the courts under his thumb. And I could see him freezing your assets. But Rupert Murdoch probably has his money off the coast of wherever. But let's get into Maurene Comey really quick. I'm not going to hold you too much longer, but I want to get into what Maurene Comey had to actually say. Okay. Because I just want to say this and listen to this as you hear her words. If Trump is pulling rank over something as petty as Stephen Colbert and Paramount TV, then I can only imagine what's going on behind the scenes with Trump and the DOJ. And I don't care if you're a Trump supporter or not. Y'all know he can be vindictive. Y'all know he is petty. And y'all know the way he runs things like a mob boss. You might like his straight thugging, but I think everybody that voted for Trump can agree that, right? I can only imagine what's going on behind the scenes of the DOJ, okay? Where Trump and his family and a lot of close friends and associates were literally just under investigation before that he was elected. Like, you guys, so many people are keeping such short memories, but Trump had so many cases that he was indicted for or about to be indicted about. And even if the Supreme Court, okay, made Trump immune, I'm looking at these articles, made Trump immune, that didn't make his family and his business partners and all his friends immune also. And it's funny that Elon Musk, of all people, is bringing this to play. Because I think when it comes to Elon Musk, I don't think he can quite control what Elon does, because I am positive that Elon now knows, now that he let Elon run through Doge, and I'm sure Doge was on Ivanka's emails and hacked into her Instagram. I'm sure they know everything. Now I think Elon knows too much to ever be threatened by Trump. And I think he has too much money and power to ever truly be threatened by Trump. And again, I don't care if you're a MAGA or not. I thought it was always weird the way Trump let Elon get away with so much. Remember when Elon's kid told Trump, "Go F yourself. You're not the president. My daddy's the president." And then he wiped his boogie on Trump. And Trump notoriously hates children. He didn't even want his own children around him when they were that young. And you let Elon, and Trump makes everybody dress up, and you let Elon come with a baseball cap. Yeah, I knew something was up then. Again. Let's get into this, right? This is from Deadline. So Maurene Comey said, this is her official statement. I was summarily fired by a memo from Maine Justice that did not give a reason for my termination. Every person lucky enough to work in this office constantly hears 4 words to describe our ethos: without fear or favor. Do the right thing the right way for the right reasons. Hold on really quick, you guys. Hold on really quick. 1 second. Wrong one. Oh, that's me. Okay, hold on really quick. I just got to grab something. Hold on. We're going to start over with Maurene Comey's beautiful words. She is such a skilled writer, such a skilled arguer. Like, I don't know. If you had saw the way that she was fighting for victims, you would know she did her thing and she did the best she could. Okay. I was summarily fired. And shout out to Maurene Comey. I feel like she's doing her Comey lean right now. I feel like she's doing the Comey lean as she wrote this, Anyway, she said, I was summarily fired via memo from Maine Justice that did not give any reason for my termination. Every person lucky enough to work in this office constantly hears 4 words to describe our ethos: without fear or favor. Do the right thing the right way for the right reasons, without fear of retribution and without favor to the powerful. For the majority of my nearly 10 years in the Southern District of New York, fear was never really conceivable. We don't fear bad press. We had the luxury of exceptional security, keeping us physically safe. And so long as we did our work with integrity, we would get to keep serving the public in this office. Our focus was really on acting without favor. And this is where the war, hold on, y'all, my air is not working. Hold on, I am dying, right? I'm on vacation if you guys can't tell. I just turned the air on, but it is taking a moment to hit me. So y'all are going to have to bear with me. Hold on really quick. Hold on. Let me pump this air up as high as it can go.
She working with the air, and I'm working with this stone buster stuff. This stuff is nasty, but I've been killing it.
Okay, I'm back. Sorry, guys. I don't like the air conditioner on at all. I just don't like it. But then, I turned the air conditioner completely off, and then, you ever turn the air conditioner completely off, and then the heat just comes out of nowhere, oof, and starts hugging you. And I was like, okay, I'll put the air conditioner on. I guess all the cold air the air conditioner had got eaten up by the heat. Anyway, She said,
Wait a minute, y'all. Bathroom break, too much water. I had to turn my AC down. Good gracious, man. My legs cold and everything. All right, here we go, y'all.
Our focus was really on acting without favor. That is making sure people with access, money, and power were not treated differently than anyone else, and making sure this office remains separate from politics and focused only on the facts and the law. But we have entered a new phase where, without fear, may be the challenge. If a career prosecutor can be fired without reason, fear may seep into the decisions of those who remain. Do not let that happen. Do not let that happen. Wow. Anyway, she said, do not let that happen. I'm just reading her words ahead. She's so good. They said that, sorry guys, I know I'm melting. Just bear with me. They said that fear is a tool of a tyrant, welded to suppress independent thought. Instead of fear, Let this moment fuel the fire that already burns at the heart of this place. A fire of righteous indignation at abuses of power, of commitment to seek justice for victims, of dedication to truth above all else. It has been an honor to fight for those principles by your side, Maurene. Y'all, yeah, listen, she was fired with no notice from the US government, all right? She was fired without notice from the US government. She was fired for a reason. She was fired for trying to serve the truth. And the thing is with Trump, okay? Jackie's Food is Served said, "You're shining brightly. Keep using your God-given gift to bring the light to us all you do. We're so proud of you." Thank you so much, Jackie's Food. I appreciate this, okay? So listen, okay, the air is finally kicking in. Whew, goodness. Somebody needs to invent an air conditioner that makes it feel like 76 degrees on a nice breezy day. Just nice breezy days, 76 degrees. Not like you sitting in the middle of a refrigerator or a freezer, and then if you turn it off, the heat comes back in, and then you have to turn it on to keep cooling off the room. But you know what? It's a small price to pay, baby. Thank God. Thank you, God, for the summer. Thank you for sunshine. Thank you for pain. Thank you for joy. Thank you for rain. Thank you, God, for the beautiful weather. Thank you. So anyway, yeah, it's a new day. It is a new day. And the thing is, I don't understand from the Trump administration. At this point, even if you're MAGA, I think we can admit that Trump is most likely on that list or mixed up somehow, right? But all this firing, the Maurene Comey, they're doing all this. I guess it was supposed to be a distraction, or maybe it was retaliation because they know that she leaked those documents for the Wall Street Journal. Because after Diddy getting off on RICO, and also there are rumors that behind the scenes, behind the scenes, Trump people have trying to put pressure on to make sure that Diddy just walks with probation. It is what it is. Again, you can say whether Trump knew Diddy or not. The pictures, the articles, everything else says differently. So where are we actually at? There is a war being waged in front of our faces. And it's crazy to me the way in 2025, just because there are some weirdos that favor yeah. Oh, wait, there's more. I skipped over a part. Sorry. She said yesterday. No, I didn't skip over anything. Okay. Listen, she's such a good writer and she's such a good lawyer. I do think it's crazy right now how every corrupt business guy knows they can get any investigation stopped just by paying off the government. I think it's crazy in 2025 that are literally rolling back to the tyranny of evil men. In 2025, money, privilege, and access can get anything. In 2025, people that aren't even in the same class, and I don't say that to look down on anybody that might be broke. I'm not, because the Lord giveth, the Lord can take it away. I'm not trying to look down. I just find it odd. I would never, ever, ever be in solidarity with a billionaire and be cheering for a billionaire's money to be able to beat the system. Because the only power we have as the working class is to band together, because the system benefits us. We are the system. The system protects us. So it's like literally cheering against your own interests. And I think it's so sick in 2025. We are literally back into feudal times where people buy and curry favor with a king. And I'm not just talking about Trump. Talk about any of those elected officials sitting in Congress, Senate, and in the White House until we hear it differently. Because again, we're screaming about the Epstein list. The Democrats could have released it, and the Democrats aren't even screaming for it to be released. They want to have hearings on the handling of it. Yeah. Anyway, y'all, Angel M said, don't forget Trump got convicted too. Birds of a feather flock together. That's right. And Kawasaki, thank you so much for the super chat, right? Listen, the world is watching. Like, who said that? The world is watching Mohican. Thank you, Wolf. The world, I'm being stalked by a mosquito. The world is certainly watching, but at the end of the day, I don't want to hear anything else about, like, nothing. We are in a strait where the rich are stepping on us. They are destroying our society. They are destroying the world, and not just American. It's happening all over the Europe. Everybody's laughing at us because what's going on? Europe has been marching toward fascism for the last 8 years, and baby, they have now finally reached it. They are almost to the mountaintop. There is so much going on all over the world, right? And the fact that the rich are now literally trampling on us. And instead of rising up unified, we have people, because they saw the social media project, or they got a new car or a new watch or whatever, and they somehow think that they are somehow like peers with all these billionaires that are cheering for the billionaires to trample on them. There is something really, really wrong with what's going on in society. It's weird. It's wrong. It's sick. But this is where we are. Darcy Stryker, thank you so much for the super chat. Listen, I know I took you guys down a million rabbit holes. We're probably going to get deeper in the next coming days. But at the end of the day, there is something broken in people's minds. Maybe we all need to get off of social media. Well, at least Instagram and TikTok. Make sure y'all stay on YouTube. But at the end of, because YouTube do be letting you say what you want as long as you don't say smacks. Right? As long as you don't say smacks or PDF files, you good. But at the end of the day, we are in strange times. And I just do want to caution everyone, stop worshiping these false idols. I don't know what y'all see if you're MAGA and Trump. I hope you don't see yourself in him, because he does not see himself in you. This goes with Democrats. This goes with celebrities, academics. This goes with so many people and things that over the last 30, 40 years, we have been conditioned to look at them as they're somehow better. They're worthy of respect. They're worthy of this or worthy of that. Why? Because your bank account is bigger than mine, because you can step on stage and people chant your name. You're somehow you're somehow better, but those people don't know you. They just know the music you make. They don't know you. And that's why they have nervous breakdowns when people actually do know the real them. And it's like, no, again, we need to stop hero worshiping. We need to stop hero worshiping, and we need to judge people by their actions. And stop letting people use, oh, I give to the poor. Really? Where? How? We need to start questioning. We need to stop hero worshiping. Again, if you want to support somebody, if you want to be Drake's biggest fan, he steps on stage. Okay, well, everybody else says he's up. Again, that's your business, right? But we need to stop hero worshiping. Stop worshiping false idols. Start respecting the way the people treat you, and start taking note when they treat you like you're less than. I'm not talking to y'all. I know y'all got this. I'm talking about the people in the back. Like, as a society, we have to stop worshiping false idols. And false idols come in many things. People like this tease stands. You're this type of fan. Yeah, I would never. But then you give these politicians all this grace. You give these scientists all this grace. You give these religious leaders all this grace. You give these academics all this grace, to the point of when they do horrible things and they're associated with horrible people, you do mental gymnastics so you can convince yourself that the person you looked at as a hero in your mind is not really who the universe is showing you they are. Again, I'm going to leave this with the words of my dad. The most powerful trait that anybody can master is the ability to recognize reality. Not what you want it to be, not what you hope it would be, not what you think it should be, but to recognize reality for what it is. Because only then can you take the necessary steps to change your reality, to change your position in life, to change whatever the issue is. But you're never going to go anywhere as long as you don't see reality and you cling to your stupid fantasies, your ego wrapped up in it, whatever it is. As long as you cling to something that's not reality, you're never going to go anywhere or do anything. And right now, our country is clinging to a fantasy of reality that didn't exist. And if we want to move forward as a country, and I'm not going anywhere, so I assume we all want to move forward as a country, we need to recognize reality for what it is and stop clinging to these false idols, not just celebrities, academics, religious leaders, scientists, politicians, people in the arts, people in humanities, people that run charities. Stop clinging to these stupid titles that people buy themselves or are given, and start looking and measuring each man by the merit of his actions. And only then can we get out of this mess we've gotten into. You know what I'm saying? That's all I'm saying. Do what you want. But that is my advice. Not for y'all. I know we're on the same page, but that is my advice for this country to actually, and the world to actually move forward. And if we don't want to do that, maybe God will do it for us. So can we please get it together before he decides to have another Noah's Ark, send another asteroid down to have a second ice age? Can we do this before he decides to do it to us? Because anyway, you guys, listen, let me know what you think in the comments. I'm going to try to upload a few videos tonight, but I swear to God, starting Sunday, I am back at work, okay? I am back at work. Anyway, y'all, listen, let me know what you think in the comments. I'll talk to y'all later. Bye.
Bye, Tease.
Talk to y'all later. Bye.
Man, that's a mouthful, man. I have no idea some of the stuff that Trump and and all them other people, man. I was all on the Diddy thing, but up top, they all work together, man. So y'all let me know what y'all think. The Epstein and all that stuff, man. They up top. They way up there looking out for each other, man. I'm gonna get on up out of here. Y'all take it light, take it slow. Tell them Uncle Mike told you so. Peace out.